I read a story that indicated that you were named in a lawsuit yesterday. I'm not going to ask you about that because I know you can't comment on any pending litigation. But the lawsuit's by the NCAA, and it's against the governor and yourself and the treasurer. And one of the things that was commented in the newspaper article from a Donald Remy, the NCAA's chief legal officer, is, quote, state governments can't simply pass laws to rewrite private agreements and divert private money to their own coffers. The article goes on to talk about how at least the author of the article described the jurisdiction of the NCAA and the Penn State issue as being an opaque jurisdiction. My question to you is, were you aware that there was a or are you aware that there was a press conference in the time period of July of 2012 where a number of professors of law questioned whether this was a dramatic change by the NCAA in its interpretation of jurisdiction over universities that had sports infractions that were somehow vaguely related to the activities?
Right. I was not aware about the press conference, but one of the things you and I share is we were both former college athletes that played under NCAA jurisdiction. So I have a host of views on the NCAA prior to the last couple of years, and certainly they've been expanded upon. I obviously am aware of being named in the lawsuit by the NCAA, the governor, Treasurer McCord, and myself. Regardless of, that will certainly be handling itself in the court of law. I do think that some of the issues that have been raised by criminal justice experts, law professors, going beyond that, is that the NCAA has opened up something that I think it's now important for legislatures all over the country to take into consideration, and that is member schools, especially state universities or schools that get significant state appropriation, that you're now not just on the hook just for recruiting violations. That's something that I think needs to be addressed in a comprehensive fashion, because I think there needs to be some clarity on that. We all get, the recruits bought an illegal lunch and an illegal, we hear about those stories all the time, and now we even find out that the NCAA completely botched an investigation into the Miami University Hurricanes football program, paying a convicted felon, I think something like $25,000, that turned out to provide information that was at best false. So I think going forward, I think the NCAA has to do a better job of figuring out where their actual jurisdiction is. I think university presidents need to address this in a comprehensive way, and I think legislatures need to now understand, because depending on how these things play out in court, are you on the hook for something that isn't just a recruiting violation? Because that is one of the differences that happened there. I think we all know that there were some terrible tragedies that happened as a result of this. The question comes in, though, how much of that was specifically related to football and how much is not, and where is the NCAA's jurisdiction? I think I don't have an answer for that, but I think we need to have a dialogue so that people understand where we actually are going forward.
Well, and apparently two independent professors, one is a professor of school of law, in this July article agrees with you. The one is quoted as saying, I don't think we're likely going to see this type of sanction occur with any regularity, McCann said. Swift justice for issues that are not only clearly violations of NCAA rules. I think if there was a pattern of that, schools may lose some confidence in the NCAA, and I think that's the sad consequence of where this is gone. I share with you some concerns, and I would encourage us to stay vigilant on this issue, at least with respect to this committee. It has a budgetary impact in that this fine money could presumably be used to help build our safety net to protect children, and I think that's an important goal that we all share. So absolutely, and again, more of just because of playing college football and baseball. Again, you played basketball, so I'm not sure how. The NCAA was founded to protect the student athlete. And it was mostly because of football, that what was happening to the safety of kids that were playing college football, in the early part of the 19th century, basically vicious head injuries, et cetera. And I think it was President Taft that basically, in a sense, ordered the creation of the NCAA to protect
protect the student athlete. And now look, as time goes on, things evolve, but we're now in a different place. And I think this, again, we need to have a comprehensive solution to this. And the legislatures now clearly need to be involved in that discussion.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.